Well, the show is inspired a lot by the song All Apologies. The lyrics really struck me when thinking about this idea of Kurt as a trans person, as a gender non-conforming person. There's something about lyrics that speak of shame, that speak of becoming the sun, that really inspired a lot of the writing in the show. But All Apologies, it doesn't feel like the right statement for a show that talks about how important it is to be able to live fully as ourselves. So we tweaked slightly to become No Apologies, which is how we feel we should be. I mean, it's not a problem because we are not claiming anything. I think quite quickly in the show we say that it doesn't matter. The truth doesn't matter. We cannot know the truth. Nobody can know the truth because Kurt isn't with us anymore. For me, what is important is that we are allowed as queer and trans people the possibility, just as we allow the cisgender straight people, they have the possibility that Kurt was a straight man. We have the possibility that she wasn't. We don't know the truth of either of these things because Kurt is not here to tell us. And I think that's only a problem if you think that it's a bad thing for somebody to think that maybe you're trans. And I think that says a lot about how people think about trans identity that doesn't actually have anything to do with Kurt Cobain. So for me, it's okay because we should be allowed this space of wishful thinking. And also, when we think about celebrity, I say in the show, like, if we consider celebrity as something that is different from the person, then it's something that is in the public domain anyway. And we all have a relationship to that. So many people have a relationship to Kurt Cobain, to Nirvana, that is very personal to them. And I'm not trying to claim anything above anyone else. I think with this level of celebrity, it's up for everybody to determine their own relationship to Kurt. History of theatre, of performance art, of expressive medium is about expressing the identity of the artist. And I think it's a very fascist way of looking at performance, to imagine that there is the person, the ideal, and that we are all trying to perform something that we're not. For me, as a creative, I prefer to let the truth of the individual inform the character that they're playing, inform the piece. I think that for me, honesty, which is related to the notion of realness in queer community, it's not only important, but I feel like it's essential. I think it is the job of an artist to reflect the world around us truthfully. I'm not interested in somebody's imagination of what 500 years ago Shakespeare was trying to say. I'm interested in what someone's experience is today. And I think that's particularly important as we live through times that are so challenging. For me, it's hugely important to travel outside of my bubble, outside of the UK. I have done quite a lot of international collaboration over the last 10 years, really, maybe a little longer. And I think that, we're on this tour, we've been in the Balkans, we've been in Brazil, we were in Germany, we were in Cornwall. And everywhere is very different political situation, different relationship to trans identity, different relationship to queer identity. There's a relationship because everywhere is in a difficult time, like everywhere is seeing a lot of repression. And I think that for me, being able to meet other queer, trans people, other creative people across borders, it creates a level of safety, it creates a level of connection that I think is essential, as I say, in the times that we're in. And then for me, it was just meeting Heartifact in Edinburgh, trusting the invitation and trusting you that you understand your cultural situation. So when Andres says that this is a show that I think people in Belgrade should see, then I trust him, I trust that invitation, and it's great for the art to be of service in that way as well. Well, I think about the alternative past rather than the future, because the future is there for us to make. I think what I hope that people leave No Apologies thinking is anyone who sees themselves reflected in the story, which doesn't have to be trans people, because, you know, I talk a lot about the shame that we feel when we're outside of society, and particularly the epidemic of suicide that we have in my community. But that's not just my community. This is affecting a lot of young people, a lot of young men, a lot of people who don't identify as LGBT as well. And all of it comes from the same place, which is shame of not fitting into society. So I think the important message at the heart of the show, as well as one of tolerance and acceptance and being yourself, is, you know, to turn this shameful thinking into a wishful thinking. So I hope that people leave feeling more tolerant towards other people, and they leave feeling more tolerant towards themselves, because ultimately that's where it has to come from. I think that shame in our society is a really huge problem, and I think that that is something that affects trans people, it affects cis people, it affects everybody. The absolute warmth and hospitality and fantastic food and rakia